Hello everyone and welcome back to another Bimmer Fixer video. Apologies in advance if I sound all nasally and horrible. I'm just getting over COVID again. It's all fun and games. But in this video, I'm going to be giving a review and rundown of the Carly Diagnostics and Programming tool. So I've had a little play with it and gone through a few things, and I think overall I'm quite impressed with it so far. What we'll do is we'll go through everything, what it includes, different packages and things like that. I think first of all, what's important, because I've seen lots of reviews online, good and bad. I think the common thing with the people that really do tear it apart is that they are expecting it to be like ISTA or something that's brand specific. It's not that. So, you know, if just manage expectations. That said, this does the full range of brands, and you can do so much with it. This car's 16, 17 years old now, and there's still 11 modules that you can tinker around with. So you've got the 11 modules, and then there's things inside those that you can mess around with and code and play with. So I'm looking forward to really going to town and going through it properly, and talking you through everything. So what we'll do, we'll go through the box quickly, and then we'll get straight into the app and start going through everything, what you get with the kit. Okay, so in your box, all you need to do, open it up, and you have a quick start guide along the top. So first of all, just download the specific app for you, so Android or iOS. Then you take your OBD Bluetooth adapter, plug that into your OBD port, connect the app to the car, and it'll do it automatically. There's also a quick start guide in the bottom of the box as well. So what we'll do now is we'll plug our adapter into our OBD port, connect to the app, and then go from there.
Okay, so you need to locate your OBD port. So in my case, in E60, it's just down here in the driver's footwell, and we just need to open up the cover there, remove this cover, and then we get our Carly Bluetooth adapter and just simply pop that in. Okay, now you'll have two lights. There's a red one at the bottom, which is letting out the power, and there's a flicking blue one at the top. You can't quite see that on the camera, so you know that it's connected to your phone. So now what you need to do is open your app.
Okay, so we open our Carly app. Now with the ignition on, it will bring up everything here. So here we go. So we've got my mileage there in kilometers. So 290,000 kilometers, 180,000 miles. And it's got the issues, because obviously I've run a scan already. It's got 3 issues there, and the vehicle status is very bad, which is never good. So what we'll do is just quickly look through the app, and then we'll go into the individual bits in a bit more detail. So as you can see there, we have our diagnostics, coding, and live data. And then we have like a repair guide, which is really cool, just here. It's worth pointing out as well, this is the premium package, which is definitely worth having, because at the moment it's usually 142.79, I believe. At the moment it's £77, whereas the basic one is 74. So yeah, at the moment it's a bit of a no-brainer. Intelligent predictions, which is something pretty cool, can go into that. Service and maintenance, so just like when it brings it up on your car, you can keep track of it on the app. Customization, engine live data, which is really handy, especially if you've got an O2 sensor or something like that playing up, and you can kind of see the values of the O2 sensor and MAF. Used car mileage check, yeah, that's okay, a bit gimmicky, but I suppose it's good to have. It's going to notice if there's any fluctuation in your mileage or inconsistencies in your mileage. But to be fair, you can pretty much do that with an MOT in the UK with an MOT check. And battery, which is pretty good, especially on BMWs. I'll go through that in a bit more detail later. So this is your dashboard. And then along the bottom here you have features. So this gives you a full list of everything that you can do in the app. So we have the diagnostics, live data, that used car check, digital garage, so you can use it on lots of other cars as well and store them. Coding, iDrive for the BMW, for example. Exhaust flap, so you can adjust that or leave it open all the time or disable it. Maintenance, engine adaptions, battery again, DPF, so if you need to force a regen. NOx, brakes, so for example, if you've got electric parking brake, you can release it. Transmission, so again, that would be transmission adaptation. So that's if you do, for example, a gearbox service, the car's not going to know that it's got fresh oil, and it needs to slightly act differently. So if you do that, it will reset everything. And then the OBD functions. So that's all the features there. Now what we need to do is we will connect to the adapter. So you just push connect there in the center. It just says there, just make sure that you've plugged into the OBD port, the ignition or vehicle engine is turned on, and make sure your Bluetooth's on. So your engine needs to be on if you're doing, for example, the live data. I'm just going to be tinkering around with diagnostics and some of the coding functions, so don't necessarily have to have your engine on. So it just takes a second. I'll speed this bit up just because it's YouTube and 30 seconds on YouTube is forever. But in person it doesn't really take that long. And there we go. Okay, so first thing what we want to do, say for example we want to do some diagnostics. So here we go. So what it's going to do here is just check any car issues that it has. Are you able to clear the faults and obviously prevent further damage if there is an issue that you're unaware of. So thank you very much. So here we go. So it's done a check, it's run everything, and as you can see, I've got a problem here with the PDC, which is parking distance control, which I think is going to be from when I had a broken PDC sensor front right. Check that video out if you haven't seen it. Everything else though is all green, which is good, surprising and good at the same time. So if we want to have a look in more detail, we can just click on there. So there we go, there's the code at the top, 00E204, and then it gives you a lowdown there on what it is. And then there's another one here, so that's talking about the front right sensor. So I was right there, and then again front right sensor. So now what you can also have is something called a smart mechanic. Now you can technically do the smart mechanic bit yourself, by simply just googling the code there, for example. But with this, it cuts all the BS out. It gives you it in nice bite-sized information and gives it into good detail, but it is an additional $35.99. But what I'll do is I'll show you. So here we go. So just click on the smart mechanic here. There we go. So it gives you there the last occurrence. So yeah, this is probably when I did have it on before. Potential consequences. So this is the problems that if you leave it, or what can happen. Then it can tell you there the guide. What else? More about the code. And it goes through and it goes more. There's more here. So this is stuff that you can find online, but with the smart mechanic, it's put it all into sections ready. So possible error causes, check the cause of the error. So it goes on for quite a bit. It's quite a substantial amount of information, and then you can click the individual codes there for the specific information. So that's fault code system. There we go. So that tells you more about the system as well. You've got the introduction, definition, things to know, and spare parts. And then you go to the intelligence, which is across the top here. So now what this is doing is using all the information that it's gathered from other Carly users and comparing that to the faults that you have on your car. And then what that can do, for example, if you have a failed sensor somewhere, and then there's a pattern between that failing and then something else failing further down the line, then it can let you know. So here, for example, this one here is 20% probability after 10 weeks after the occurrence of a potential issue that the water pump might go. So it is quite a low chance, so I wouldn't really worry too much about it. But there you go, malfunction of the auxiliary water pump. There's the code, 10 weeks. And then again, it goes on, it gives you lots more information. See, I don't know if it used to give you this much information. I don't know if this is on a new update, but I really like this. I like this if you're quite a novice mechanic or home DIY mechanic, This I think is brilliant. I don't know how a qualified mechanic with access to a dealership level diagnostics will find this. They probably find this a bit boring or patronizing, but I think for someone like myself or someone that's new to DIY, automotive DIY, I think they can find it very useful. So that's a smart mechanic. Like I say, you can do all that research online anyway, but if you wanted to do that, it's £35.99. So coming back out of there, so that's the diagnostic side of things. You can also clear the codes and everything as well. Next, we can look at coding. So there we go again, we can select coding. So it just says there, gives you the benefits, customize your car specifically to your needs, change the style of your car, do the lights. So that could be the daytime running lights, for example, the brightness. It could be the pattern of your hazard lights. So instead of a constant flash, you can have the double repeater. So what we need to do here, just need to check the compatibility. So what it's going to do now is just to make sure that there are modules that can be coded. So we just give that a second while it looks for mine. There we go. So we have 11. So this is just to let you know that it's going to back up everything. So whatever's your car, or however your car is set up before you do this, it will remember that. So if you start programming things, you don't like it, or you get in a bit of a mess or in a muddle, you can just revert to how it was before and start over from scratch, which is really good. So these are all the systems that we can play around with. So we've got the car access system, integrated heating and climate control, instrument cluster, light module, anti-theft alarm system and siren, seatbelt, parking distance control, mirrors, telephone, and the body, windshield and tailgate and window and things. So that's really handy. I think if you've got the Touring, you can open windows and things with buttons that you shouldn't be able to, which is pretty cool. One that I did played around with was, where's it gone? The mirrors. So what you can do is when you put the car into reverse. Oh, I didn't like that. Well, I didn't like that. When you put the car into reverse, the mirror drops down to so you can see what's behind you on the near side. Okay, so looking at the car access system, or CAS. So there we go, communication is stable, so it knows you can do everything there. So you read from car, read from backup. So if you've done this already, you can read from backup, and then you can select, here we go, there's 3 I've done before. So I can select from the very first one, which I've done, which is at the top, or the latest one, which is at the bottom. What we'll do is we'll go from, actually, yeah, we will do that. We'll go from this one. So it'll load that up. So these are the kind of things that you can change. So you've got comfort start, comfort eject, and you can see, like I say, there's lots here that you can go through. If there's any you're not sure of what they are, all you need to do is just simply select it. So comfort start, and then at the bottom, as you can see, ignition key has to be tapped once to start the engine after ignition is turned on. You have easy entry. So if you weren't sure what that has, if the car is unlocked, by pressing the unlock button twice, the driver's windows will lower as soon as the door is opened. That's pretty neat. So there's lots to go through. I won't bore you to death with all these, but like I say, you can just go through all of them. And if you want to code something, you just select it on or off, and then you can just code it like that. Light module. So there we go again, communication is stable. Go for backup, there we go. So this is one of the first things I was playing around with. I just kept backing it up. There's no need to do that really, because nothing really changed. I kept re-backing it up. But we'll go from that one again. So load that back up. So here we go. So we've got, for example, flash pass by xenons. You can turn the fog lights off when you flick your high beam. Hazard lights double, so that's when it go from the normal clicking to rapid clicking or double. So yeah, so you've got lots of things to play around with there as well. Park control, park distance control and telephone. So yeah, there's lots of code and bits and pieces there. Live data. So with your engine on, you can check. There we go. So, engine speed things. That's actually if you're driving. But if your engine's on, you can have a look through all the live data. So we have repair guides as well. So that's going to be with the parking distance control sensor. So if we click on that, again, we've got the smart mechanic, and it can also talk you through how to repair those as well. We've looked at the intelligent predictions, service and maintenance. That can be brakes, oil, everything like that. So tells you how long you got left. Customization we've looked at, engine live data, and then, like I say, the battery. Now, the battery, it's really important actually to. So there we go. So what's happened is this is doing a over 24 hours doing a battery health check. Obviously, I've got 5 hours left on mine. But what you can do is register a new battery. Now, why this is really important is, and people dismiss this and don't really take much notice of it, but it's actually really important because what happens is when your battery finally dies and you put a new one in, and you need to tell the car, this is because the power going from the alternator to the new battery will be too high. When a battery gets older, it needs more power from the alternator to keep it charged. If you send that that current to a new battery, because the car thinks it's an old battery, you'll destroy the new battery. So it's always important to make sure that you reset the battery and tell the car that it's got a new battery. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of the app. What we'll do now, just give it we'll give a bit of a round up and finish up, and then yeah. And there we go. So there's my little rundown and review of my Carly OBD diagnostic and coding tool. For me, I thought it was very helpful, very useful. I think for how much it is and what it can do with everything, all the information it gives you, I think it's very reasonably priced. I think it's about managing expectations more than anything. With people, it's not ISTA, it's not a brand specific diagnostic or coding tool. So don't expect heaps and heaps and heaps of information. You're just not going to get it for that price. Just be a bit realistic there. But for what this is designed for, which is lots of brands, it's designed for the DIY home mechanic, someone that's new to automotive DIY, someone that's got a few cars in the household that they want to just manage and keep an eye on, or even a small company, even like a taxi firm or something like that. So if you've got multiple vehicles, it's ideal for just keeping an eye on those. At the moment, like I say, because there's two packages, you get the basic, which is £74, and then you get the premium. The premium's usually about 140. At the moment, it's 177, I believe, at the time of filming this, which is in July. So it might be worth just jumping on that quickly while it's still that cheap. I think for 149, it's still worth it, but you've got to kind of wait up a bit more. But at the moment, with it being £70 odd, that for me is a no-brainer, especially when you consider how much some of the cheap diagnostics tools are. And there's just an additional price for the smart mechanic if you want that, which was £35. So yeah, with that, you can get obviously the code from this, and you can Google it yourself. But what I liked about the smart mechanic was the amount of detail it gave you. It's not patronizing, but it just gives you enough to understand, or not just enough, it gives you enough to understand what's going on in layman's terms, which is really helpful. I think they might have updated it since, because I've seen again a few videos online with the smart mechanic, and there seems to be more information and more areas available now than there was a year ago. So I think they might have updated something there. That said, lifetime warranty as well if you do have any issues, and there's 24-hour support, or I think it's 24-hour support, but there's lots of support on there as well if you do get stuck or have any questions. They've been brilliant with me getting this organised. So yeah, for me, it's a thumbs up. Like I say, just manage expectations. There's like I say, there's lots of videos out there where people are going mad at it, but it is what it is, and for the price. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, please ask in the comment section. If you would like a more in-depth review, or maybe going into a bit more detail about the areas on the app, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. All the information will be linked in the description. If you enjoyed the video, please get a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. And also, thanks for putting up with my nasally, horrible voice. Appreciate it. Thanks very much, guys. See you again soon. Bye bye.